how are you booktube? Welcome to my channel MH Books and to the first part of my book haul and vlog from the wild Atlantic way. So for those who are listening rather than watching, I will be showing you some scenery of Kerry, doing 4 books of a book haul, just to show some scenery of Kerry and County Clare, and then doing another 4 books. And the rest of the book haul will be in a future episode, hopefully. So without any more ado, let's crack on. So, Killarney and Tralee Bookshops. So, in Killarney it was really raining, as you can see from the footage, and we went into the Dungeon Bookshop, and the Dungeon Bookshop is upstairs. Don't know why. And the Dungeon Bookshop sells secondhand books. In Killarney we went into 2 bookshops. I think there was 3 or 4, but we only got to 2 because we were also looking for vinyl. And one of the bookshops was the Polymath bookshop, which is probably the second most interesting one on my trip. It had secondhand books and new books on the same shelves, and I loved the idea of that. And then we went into O'Mahony's, and O'Mahony's had your typical independent shop collection of books, which is always very convenient because you can find books that I might have forgotten about quite easily, because it's not miles to go until you get to the bookshelf. So in no particular order, except the order that I just popped them down on this bed. The first book we got was Idaho. Actually was the first book, everything else was out of order. And I managed to convince somebody to get me this for my birthday because it was secondhand in Dungeon, so not too expensive. Idaho is the story of, it's the winner of the 2019 Dublin Literary Awards, and I am thinking about doing something the Dublin Literary Awards long list. It's a library award that's hosted by my library in Ireland, but it's an international one in that any library in the world can enter it. So the number is normally about 150 books on the long list, sorry. But at the moment, this year, there was only 49. It's already been shortlisted, but there was only 49 because of lockdowns around the world. They tend to be good in that it's books from a year or two ago. And so this is 2017 book, and it won 2019. So they tend to be about 2 years old before they've been, about a year old before they're longlisted. Because people in libraries have to read them first to nominate them to think they're good enough each year. So it's a good way of reading some of your backlist books that you own, but it's also a good way of reading books you might not have thought about, because my library guarantees every single book on the long list will be available in their library. They will order it if they don't have it. So I'm thinking about doing something like that in the future. But at the moment, let's talk about Idaho. So Idaho is a book that, remember, I haven't read any of these books, so this is what I think they're about. It's about a man and a woman, a married couple, and they're living quite remotely as far as I remember, and something happened in the man's previous marriage. Now, he has dementia, early onset dementia. He may actually be Alzheimer's, but it's early onset dementia, so he's losing his memory. So some of this is about memory. And his previous wife is now in jail, and one of his two daughters is dead. The other one is missing. So it's also a little bit of a literary thriller, at least at the beginning. That's all I know. So intriguing. Daisy Johnson's, whose other book, Everything Under, I also own, and the budgies has eaten it a lot, and I still haven't read it, so I really need to read it before the budgies eat it all. So this is Sisters. It is set in a house in somewhere in England near the coast. I think it's like near Yorkshire, could be wrong on that. And the two sisters, and they're called July and September. They're born 10 months apart, so September would be the oldest and July would be the youngest. They wouldn't be 10 months apart. And something has happened in their background, something to do with bullying, and some incidents occurred, and they've been moved to this house in Yorkshire, and the whole thing has gothic overtones and a bit of a psychological thriller in quite a short book. So interested to see what that one's about. Talking about Jane Austen in Baghdad. This is actually a series of emails by B. Rowlatt and May Witwit, which are the two authors. It's their emails over the course of 2005 and 2008. B works for the BBC and was fairly well-to-do, nearly mother of three. I think she's pregnant when she starts. And she writes an email to May asking her what's life like in Baghdad. May is a lecturer in Baghdad, and is just getting on with day-to-day life as it occurred in 2005. And they write these emails over the course of 2005 and 2008. They're actual emails. I'm sure it's probably edited a bit. And it's about the course of their friendship developing and what life was really like for these two women and how they live quite different lives. And last but not least, an Irish author, Nuala is quite known for her lyrical writing. I've not read her yet. And this is My Dream of You. It's a beautiful book. You can see the ring light. And by the way, it's only like 5 o'clock in the evening. We are going to get some rain. And this one is about a travel writer. What's her name? She's de Burca, as far as I remember. Something like that. Kathleen de Burca. Yeah. She's a travel writer. And some incident happens. I don't know. And she decides that she's going to try writing a new book that's nothing to do with travel writing. And she goes back to Ireland after 30 years and investigates an old story about a British landlord during the famine times, so during the 19th century, who was having an affair with an Irish servant, and the divorce that happens as a result of this, and it's quite a famous divorce. But meanwhile, once she's in Ireland, she finds an ex-lover, and it's about her life writing that one. That's all I know. Again, I've not read these books. and welcome to the Kerry and Clare parts of the haul. We started off in Dingle Bookshop, and Dingle Bookshop had this book and one other which I'm obviously about to show you for £5. So this is Ta-Nehisi's Coats the Water Dancer. I actually already own this on audio. It was very hyped a couple of years ago when it was out. It's a book about slavery with magical realism, compared to not always favourably to Toni Morrison's Beloved and Alice Walker's The Colour Purple. But I have been told to ignore what people say and just read it and don't find out too much about it before stepping into this one and just see what I see. So it's such a gorgeous cover copy to get for £5. I'm so excited. And there's my work emails. I meant to turn them off. It is after 5. And then I was also extremely excited to get this book. It's Anseo. Anseo is the Irish for here. We would have used it in school. They would have called it your name, and they would have said like Moira Nick, which is my name in Irish, and I would have said Anseo. This is a book by Una-Minh Kavanagh. Una was adopted. She's from China. That's her there. She was adopted from China by a single Kerry woman, and lived in Kerry all her life, developed the accent, spoke the dialect of Irish that's spoken in Kerry, is still spoken natively there, and went to Dublin and was part of a racist incident which she tweeted about, and the tweets sort of went viral. So this is a story about herself, her life, her studying of Irish, because I think she went on to university and studied Irish as well, and it's quite it's quite famous enough here. There she is when she's adopted. Isn't that cute? So it's a memoir, which I'm really looking forward to. I think hopefully I'll get to this one now in non-fiction November, because I can't believe I managed to get it, a book about a Kerry woman in Kerry though. Amazing. And this one has appeared before. It's Boys Don't Cry. As on the blurb, they say boys don't cry, but you might. This is about two brothers growing up in inner city Dublin. Their dad is a criminal warlord and their mom is abused, and it's their story. So we're reading it soon and we'll talk about that then. So that's the end of this vlog and book haul. There are 8 more books to come. 6 bought in Kerry, 1 that was waiting for me when I got here, and 1 I just bought while I was, putting this vlog together, so it's going to now include it. So I hope whatever you're reading, that you're enjoying it, whatever books you're acquiring via the library or shops, that you're enjoying it, that you're enjoying that experience too. And until next time, bye now. I forgot a book. I forgot Lahinch. So when we're in Lahinch, this is where I had to go to the bookshop, and basically while everybody else was getting their food order in, so I got The Nutting Man by Catherine Ryan Howard. Now this book sounds really exciting. Catherine Ryan Howard writes crime thrillers. She's from Cork, and I've already read her first 2. This is her 4th novel. I own her 3rd, haven't read it yet. But this one sounds particularly intriguing. There's a woman called Eva Black who's writing a true crime story on the search for a murderer. So it's a man that killed her own family, 2 decades ago. And there's a person called Jim Doyle who works as a security guard, and he's reading this book with interest because he's the killer. So and she's getting close to finding him. So oh, I can't wait to read this one. Okay, thank you.